That's not right.
Yeah, you know.
Hey guys, how are you? We're just wrapping our team meeting up here at Living, so I'm gonna get started here in just a minute.
Gina, you're looking really professional today.
I am. Thank you. Maybe it's the light. They got better lighting here. All right. And I'm not sitting low at a table. All right. All right, thanks guys so much for joining. We're gonna just jump right in. Today we're gonna be talking about lead conversion. And I'm gonna do a share screen here. Some of you maybe have seen this class. I thought it was a good time to jump in and do it based on the topics we've been going over recently. So it is an Ignite class that we occasionally teach throughout the year. So I thought it would be a great time to jump in and use this great information. All right. Yep. So I won't see most of your faces, so please do just shout out any questions that you have as we go. Hopefully it's calling me up. There we go. All right. So internet lead capture and conversion and other sources of business that we can move forward to be able to convert to, business for yourself. So the past several weeks, I'm going to say we taught the class on 150 ways to build your database. We've talked about how to hold a successful open house. We've talked about working with expireds and working with for sale by owners and all the different lead generating things. All that is so important. But if we get all the leads and we build our database and we're working on growing it, but we don't nurture it and we don't do the things that we need to do to our database, how do we get sales from it? Would you agree that the list of people that you met at open house don't know that they're in your database? Unless you're doing something.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're doing something to let them know that. The expireds that you called last week, they don't know that they're in your database unless you're doing stuff to nurture them. Even all your friends and family, if you look at your cell phone and you've got 1,200 people in there and you put them all into Command or some CRM and you're not doing anything with them, then the time that it took you to do that isn't going to bring you the benefits that you're looking for, right? So today, the things we're going to be talking about is, using internet leads to capture and convert, and then your internet leads real estate, and then the 4 C's. Does anyone know what the 4 C's means or what that is? No? Well, we're going to roll down to it here in a minute. All right. So capturing and converting. So obviously we are doing, and if you're not, we all should be, we are in an internet world, right? So most people aren't. I recently had a call with a potential recruit, and what she said, and I don't remember which office which she was, potentially coming to, but what she said was this: do you have required office time, meaning for phone duty? And I said, well, not required, but most offices have someone who can be on call or opportunity time. But she goes, no, do you have a way so I can sign up and be the office agent on call? So in case when people come in, that they would be my lead. And I said, we haven't really done that in a really high way for 10 years. Did you think that's where the most of the business was going to come from? And she did. And let me tell you why. Because of the 2 other companies that she was talking to, that's what they were pushing for. So how many of you that have been in the business, let's say under 3 years or in the past 3 years, got a walk-in to the office at Howard? Yes. So I was going to say they're the one who pushes that. It's not a very frequent thing. And why do we think most people don't just go show up at brokerages and walk in? Because they have the internet. Exactly. So they're looking online. Most people, not to say they never do, If someone doesn't have friends and family that knows an agent, or they aren't computer not just savvy, they just aren't even computer people, then they have to pick up the phone and call and they have to walk in. But if you're relying on that for your main source of business, it's going to be a long time before you sell a house, right? So we are in a internet world, social media world, and mobile apps. So if you don't have the Keller Williams app on your phone, you should absolutely have it. So everybody who's in here has access to that app. If you don't have it downloaded, you need to get it.
Command that.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, lots of great things for that app. So every time someone responds to me that I'm talking to through command, I get a ding on my phone and I can open up the app and I've got their information right there. Also sharing that with your clients so that way when they're driving around looking at houses, they can open up that app and they can push a button that says houses near me and it shows them all the information about that listing. More importantly, all of our technology speaks to each other and that also gives you a message. I know a couple of years ago I was in Florida and there was a for sale. I was walking a neighborhood that we were staying in and there was a house for sale. And I just thought, you know what? I want to know more information. Rather than Googling it, I'm going to open up my command app like a client would, and all the information was there. Pictures of the house, price of the house, everything that I needed to know, the listing agent's information, all of that. So we have to be able to know what to do to be able to get these people. And that's where the 4 C's come in. So the 4 C stands for capture. So we've got to capture those leads. We have to connect with them. We have to cultivate them. What does cultivate mean?
Like nurture them.
Yep. Nurture them and find out information. Find out, what are your pain points? What are your reasons for buying and selling? That helps me gauge whether you're an ABC client, buyer or seller, right? And then for the close. And so this was timely for me since lately I've been talking a lot about closing the deal. And when I say closing the deal, which we've talked about, I think Monday in Dominate Your Week and then in class last week, you're closing all the way through the communication with this person. So whether that's through the transaction, it's through the communication. So you're closing to get an email address. You have to know how to get it. You're closing that to get you're achieving those small little wins along the way. The first one is, let me have your email address, basically. The next win is getting that appointment set. So you're closing for the appointment. We're not just closing for the transaction. So you have to break that down in little pieces, parts, and know that these are little achievements that I'm getting along the way, all the way to that path of being able to actually close the deal. If that makes sense. All right. So when is a lead a lead? So it's when a person inquires. Yep.
So when you meet somebody.
That's right. They're a lead.
Name.
That's right. As soon as you're in front of somebody that you don't know, or even that you do know, maybe you haven't been looking at the people that you know correctly. Maybe everyone I see, if I'm at a football game for the high school, everybody I'm talking to is a potential lead, and they're a potential lead to even send me business. So let's remember this, which I know a lot of people either don't know or forget. I'm not working my SOI for their business. I want their business, but what are the chances that they're buying or selling right now? Out of 500 people, let's just say. It's slim. So people buy on average 5 to 7 years, some longer, some shorter. But if I'm relying on the 500 people or 1,000 people that are in my SOI and in my database to buy a house, that could stretch over the time of 10 years. I want their referrals. That's what I'm hoping for. So I want that lead to be a funnel for me to get referrals. Inquiries, that would be like someone calling you on a for sale sign. That's a lead. Those are all leads. Those are potential business for you. And then if you have a follow-up system, then you can convert those leads into someone who actually knows. It shouldn't be what we often hear us talking about, don't be a secret agent, but not only don't be a secret agent, but pat behind myself here. Don't make it a shocking surprise that the people that you have in your database are there. They should know. I'd love to add you to my database and send you valuable information throughout the year. There's nothing wrong with that. They should know that they're there. If you do giveaways throughout the year, Sean and I were just talking about pop buys. So if you're going to take mums in the fall to a particular portion of your database, it's not a secret. It's something that they fully expect. When I used to do, Easter baskets at Easter with little eggs and candy. I mean, I can remember one year, 2 particular past clients of mine called and said, when's the Easter basket coming? Because they knew that they were on a list that they were going to get one. And so, unfortunately, for one of them, I bumped them off my list because I replaced them with somebody else. And I was like, wow, they really do care about that silly little basket. And so we add them back on. So it's not a secret that they're in your database and that you're actually trying to work them for their referrals and for their business. What an easier way to have that conversation. So it would be like, hey, Sean, it's Gina calling again. I know we talked a few months ago. How's your summer been going? And hey, I'm just calling because I wondered if you knew of anybody that's buying, selling, or investing in real estate. I'm trying to grow my business this year and I've got a goal to sell 3 more houses. And I wonder if you can help me out. That's a script. And they shouldn't wonder, is he calling or is she calling to get something from me? It's okay to fully admit it. It's me again calling. Like, you don't have to be afraid about it. It's only being pushy when you're doing something against what someone's wanting you to do. It's not being pushy. I like to just dive right in and be very direct about it and make light of it and kind of even laugh about it and not be acting like, oh, I'm sorry, am I bothering you? Like, I'm never going to say, I'm sorry, am I bothering you? I'm going to say something like, hey, I hope you have a couple minutes for me to bother you. You see how that conversation can go completely different, just changing up the words. So that's all those kinds of things, which, by the way, is what we script about every other Friday and what you guys can be scripting with your partners on. These are all ways to learn techniques to be able to start to convert business. Again, we can be out there gathering leads, but if we're not doing a good job of knowing how to talk to people, we're not converting that into future business for yourself. Having them know that you are the local expert. So, sending them valuable information throughout the year, like we were just talking about with a market snapshot. So here's something that I always do. If I just sell a buyer a house and they are set up in a search, and let's just say they're set up for Solon and Chagrin Falls between 250 and 350. They buy the house. I don't shut their search off. I just change it from immediate to monthly. And then I add solds and pendings. So now they're going to not only get the active listings, they're going to get the solds and pendings. That's a market snapshot. I already had it set. It didn't take me any more time. I just adjusted it. And then I let them know, hey, just so you know, I know that you've bought this great house from me, but I figured you'd want to know what your neighbors around are selling for. So I'm going to reduce the amount of frequency you're going to get that email from me to once a month. And now you're going to get it as a market snapshot of your area. I'll be honest, I forget to turn my buyer's search off. This is how this happened anyway. I just forget. And they just keep getting them. And I'm like, I'm still sending them stuff and they've already bought a house. Well, it made sense. They're still getting them. They haven't unsubscribed. So I may as well make it worth their while and keep myself top of mind on a monthly basis. So that's just one thing you can do for an email touch. Understanding the needs of the buyers and the sellers. So that's like those scripts that we have, understanding pain points and the LP Mama script for a buyer, getting really good at that. And, who wants to work with a salesperson that doesn't care about what they need? Nobody. I mean, I remember talking to a salesman buying a car and he pulls up in the complete opposite thing. Like I'm a buyer that I already knew what I was going there to look at and test drive. I didn't need you to show me 25 other options or even one other option. Where's the car I called about? I don't care about this vehicle. I only want to test drive the one that I don't even want to test drive it. I already know how it drives. I'm one of those people who buys the same car twice. So I've had 2 of this and 2 of this and 2 of this, and because it's just easier and I just want a new color and an upgraded version. So where's the keys? Where do I sign? I don't need to test drive it. Let's get moving. So understanding the needs, but also understanding the personality types of your clients or potential clients, or as we're saying in this case, leads. all those leads have personalities. It's going to be way easier for you to connect with them and learn how to convert them into some kind of business for yourself in the future if you can understand their personality. And then who adjusts their personality? We adjust our personality. They aren't adjusting their personality. We're going to mirror their personality as best as we possibly can. If it's someone who is in a high C, we need to know that they want data. They aren't trying to be our friend. So I need to talk less when I'm around a high C. They don't want me rambling on. They don't want me complimenting them on that they look nice today. All they want is data. So just learning that and being able to move forward is going to help you with lead conversion. Would hate to not have someone work with you because of just a personality type difference. And it wasn't that they didn't like you or they didn't work with you because they did like you. It was because they were looking for something that was more similar to their own personality. A high D doesn't want to work with a high I in sales. They talk too much. So they want to work with someone who's just show me the house and I'll sit over in the corner and let me make a quick decision while I'm here, because high Ds make fast decisions. They don't need you to try to talk them into something, right? So knowing that disc personality is going to be really helpful for you moving forward as well. Using your website to capture leads and capture inquiries about things. I just posted this morning, and it was something that Cross Country had made for us that Kate gives us every Monday. And it was about the market value of your home. And I just simply popped my photo on it. And I believe my caption was something like, "Our prices still increasing. To get a free market analysis, reach out to me. My phone number is this and my website's that." Quick, took me 3 seconds to post that. That's a capture. So you're going to get inquiries on that. People will reach out and ask questions or want you to come do a market analysis. Always having a good first impression, of course, because leads aren't always just someone that we know. It's new people that we've met. Maybe 2 years ago, I was freshening up my office and I bought this cute little lamp, and I was in line at Target, and the lady behind me said, "What a cute lamp. What are you going to do with it?" And I said, well, and my brain was already moving. I'm going to take this as an opportunity to talk about real estate. And I said, well, it's going on my desk. I'm freshening up my real estate office desk. And then she goes, "Oh, you sell real estate." And then all of a sudden we started having this conversation, which was really making the cashier mad because we were stopping and talking while she was trying to get me to pay. But just from a silly little lamp, we had this huge conversation. Well, I even finished paying and continued to talk as she went through the line, gave her my card, got her information, and she has a condo that she was going to be selling. Now they decided to stay instead of moving to Florida, but it's a lead. Now she's in my database, just simply from a encounter in line at Target, because I found a way to, well, I mean, I wasn't lying. The lamp was for my desk, but even if it weren't, I would have somehow found a way to make it about real estate. And then following up with every inquiry, you never know. If your website brings in a lead that's looking for a house that's in an area or price range you don't want to work, that could just be what they clicked on. It doesn't actually mean what they're looking for, right? So you should definitely be following up with everybody at all times. Questions about that? I love this slide. And I would say this. Look at yourself. Look at yourself. I look at myself whenever I see this, and don't lie. Don't lie to yourself. I'm not going to make anyone call themselves out unless they don't want to. But there's different types of people. And there's the prisoner, the vacationer, and the explorer. And I love this. And I want you to look at this as who you are as a salesperson, who you are as an agent here at KW, where, what category are you in? And then also say, where do I want to be? So I'm going to just read through some of these. And let me just say, I think it was funny when I was looking at this yesterday, like I would never on a Zoom that's being recorded. So let's just say that, but I would never say out loud who, but I can come up with 10 people that are prisoners, 10 people that are vacationers, and 10 people that are explorers just in our group. Of about just under 100 people. So I often say too, you can only grow when you can really self-reflect. properly about yourself. So it's okay if you're one of the things, but a prisoner has to be there, has to be there, meaning they have to be there. They don't really want to be there. They feel like they have to be there. They don't even know why they're there, but they force themselves to be there. So that's someone who doesn't engage, someone who spends time, and I love this, and this is how I say I know, somebody who spends time catching up on their emails while in class or in a meeting versus engaging, someone who escapes, and you guys have heard me say this over and over again, someone who will take a call in the middle of a class or a meeting and escape. That's a prisoner. I know you prisoners think you're explorers when you do that, but you're not. Let me tell you this. Would I ever get up and take a call unless it's an emergency, unless it's one of my children and they've called me 3 times in a row? I'm not taking a call. I don't care if it's the home inspector and I've been waiting for his call. This is a business I'm running. I'm running a business, my business. And when I'm in a class, my business at that moment is learning the content from that class. Why am I here? Right? I'm here to learn. If I'm not just there to be there, then I'm not going to miss what was said in a team meeting or something to that effect. If I'm going to get up in a team meeting and walk out, it's because I've drank too much water and I got to pee. It's not going to be because I got a call from my buyer who I've been waiting to hear from. It's not. Understand how you do business. Would Gary Keller leave the stage at family reunion to take a call because he's in a legal matter with a client? No. Would Jose ever do that? And he's got lots of businesses and lots of things going on. He just wouldn't. So I know, because I've said to the people that are offenders, I've said, I'm not impressed by that. I'm not impressed. It doesn't make me think you're busy. When I see you off in the corner in a meeting talking on the phone to your client, it doesn't make me think, oh, that's a busy agent. It actually makes me think that's a person who can't manage their time properly. So don't be the prisoner, right? Moving on to the vacationer. A day in training is better than a day on the job. So these are our people that have been in coaching for a really, really, really long time. They've been in coaching for a long time, not because they've graduated to phase 2 and phase 3. It's because they sell very few houses. And part of why they sell houses could be because they're dual career or other things. Maybe that's what their goal was. Some people have a goal of selling 2 houses a year, and I'm not knocking them for that. I'm saying the ones who are seeking being successful in full-time in real estate, but they haven't been able to do that, but they're full-time students. So they come to everything, they're always showing up, but they can't seem to be able to sell houses. Why is that? Because now when they leave for the day, this has been a long morning and into the afternoon today here at Living. We've had our team meeting, there was an hour gap, and now we're at class. That does not mean, congratulations me, I did real estate today. That's who the vacationer is. Giving yourself credit for the time of your day that you spent on education and learning. You now have to go do the work. If you don't go do the work, you won't sell the houses. Your clients don't know that you sat in class for 3 hours today, nor do they care. So you need to go do something with the information. So don't be the vacationer who thinks, yay me, I came to a couple of meetings. That also means, maybe I went to family reunion, maybe I went to mega camp, maybe I'm in Sales Rocket. All those things are great, but that doesn't mean now check real estate done for the week if you don't do the work. Also, those people spend too much time chatting rather than listening. I know, and I joke about this all the time. When I first met Jose, he kept trying to give me the book, The Gift of Silence. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, he was constantly shoving it at me. And I'm like, okay, what is it you're trying to say? I obviously talk too much. That's what he's trying to say. So I try to self-reflect with that and say, I need to do better listening than talking. The vacationer comes late to class constantly. They come back, they leave for calls, they don't come back, that kind of thing. They spend way too much of their time Facebook and, texting and all the different distractions. They're the squirrel kind of a person, right? And they're definitely not paying attention. I mean, I got to be honest, in this room right here, somebody who I would say is a vacationer fell asleep while I was teaching a dot live class they were no longer with us. But they fell asleep in here. Like I taught the class because they wanted to know more about dot loop, and they sat right here and actually fell asleep. So I didn't know it was that boring that I make people fall asleep. But anyway, and then the Explorer. The Explorer is excited and curious about new knowledge, skills, and tools that they discover from class. They discover from meetings. I mean, I sit through 3 team meetings a month at all 3 locations, and there's always something, and I have for years. There's always something I take away, even if it's one small little gold nugget. That's all that I need to get out of that time. They listen intently. They take notes. I love when people come to a meeting and they come with a pad and paper, or they're texting themselves or whatever they want to do, and they're taking notes. I find it so interesting when someone wants me to meet with them to help them prepare for a listing appointment that they've never gone on before, and they're writing none of this down. I don't even understand. I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a call because I don't remember anything that I said because they weren't writing it down. I'll even say, aren't you going to write this down? So definitely somebody who's an explorer, someone who's writing stuff down. They're very much so paying attention and seeking new knowledge at all times. They come early to class. They don't take a ton of breaks. You can tell that they are engaged. They ask questions. So I'll open it up because I've been blabbering now for a straight 30 minutes. Who would like to say what they think that they are and what they would, I mean, everybody would strive to be the explorer, obviously. But anybody in the vacationer or prisoner category would like to fess up and see that, what kinds of things they can do better at?
Can you be a hybrid?
Yeah, you can. You can be a hybrid.
I mean, like you said, we all towards it. That's where we want to be.
Of course.
We do fall into some pitfalls and traps.
Yep.
We feel like, we have to take a call or step out or double book an appointment.
Sure. Yep, I think so. Anybody on? Danny?
I'll say I think I'm in the middle of the vacationer and the explorer.
Okay. And so what of those items makes you feel like that?
Sometimes I do definitely lose focus. So that's where the vacationer comes in. Just because I have a very short attention span, and I'm very impatient. But I do feel like I am very excited to learn about new knowledge and skills. I do think sometimes after like a long day at the office, like, through a team meeting, and, classes like this and other things, I'll just like be like, holy crap, like I had a long day of like learning and I'm like mentally exhausted from that. I like the rest of the day is off, which, coming back full swing into real estate after, something catastrophic happens. I think that's something that I really want to change. And now that I'm at this home inspection and I have that opportunity to change that, I think I'm going to change my day today for the better. So
I love that. That's awesome. I also think, again, part of it's just recognizing that you do it and it's okay. We're all, I think, a combination of all 3 in some ways in our life. And no one is perfect and is always in that explorer category. So it's just great to be able to recognize the things that we can do better. Thank you, Danny, for jumping out there, and same with you, Sean, there. All right, let's see here. All right. So back to who uses the internet, buyers and sellers. 90% of home buyers search online and 89% are using their mobile device also to do that. So that gives us a great capture rate if they're coming to your site. You want your site to be the place, by the way, that causes people, like I want to be the Zillow. I don't want them going to Zillow. I want to be the Zillow. So I have to make their auto search or whatever portal I have them set up in so user friendly that that's where they automatically go. And part of that's also going to be in the follow-up, reminding them, hey, are you using the app that I sent you? Hey, are you getting the emails that I've sent you? Internet in real estate, there's some different truths here. If anyone wants to jump out again, I feel like I'm talking so much today. I don't know why. who can look at these and resonate with any of these and tell me in any example of real, let's talk about real life. What kinds of positive and negative things have you had with internet leads? What is your conversion rate with internet leads? Go ahead.
You can go.
Okay. With internet leads, it is a numbers game for sure.
It is.
Since the onset of COVID, I've done a ton of ads and I've done home buying seminars out of,
Yeah.
once a month for the last 3 years. And I would say that although I may have about 250 people in my database just from doing those campaigns, it is a numbers game.
Yeah.
I've closed about 5 or 6 of them,
Okay.
which is good, but I would want it to be higher. But it is like, and at least they don't know you. They've never met you before most times. And trying to nurture those, to change those into a relationship so that they can trust you is a long haul. It's the long.
That's right. But you know that. You know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I love that it's a numbers game. It's not your day to day. It's not going to be the thing that's going to bring you the business that's going to be able to make you focus only on it.
Right.
I want to say statistics say that out of every 100 internet leads, 3 to 5 of them are potential clients, not sales, potential clients. So that means let's just say 3 of them are people that I'm going to show houses to or go on a listing appointment. And then it's my job to convert them into then working with me. So those are, we want internet leads. We need internet leads. They're not, I remember way back, I don't even know how long ago, plus 10 years ago, where someone in my office said to me, do you even want to work with internet leads? And I was like, I feel like that's a trick question. And, it was at a time we were kind of like, should we be working with internet leads? We knew, and I knew then too, they are here to stay.
Yeah.
And it's potential business. So look at it like, how much time am I really investing? And then the payout is so big from something that you just got on the internet. So that could also include social media posting and stuff like that. Did you have something else to add?
No.
Nope. All right. Sellers on the internet, they're looking for something different. You guys hear me say this very often. Buyers are looking for a house, right? They're going to buy a house. Let's just face it. They're going to buy a house. They're going to step over you, and step over you to get to the house. It's not that they'll work with anyone, but nothing worse than this gut-wrenching call. Thank you so much. You've been so amazing. You've dropped everything on Friday nights and you've left your family on Sundays to show us houses. And we really appreciate everything you've done. However, we walked into an open house today and we made an offer. Aren't you so excited? We bought a house. Real call that I've had in the past. Like, you're like, what? So they will do whatever they need to do to buy a house. And some are more loyal than others. The people that will be, oh my gosh, you've been so amazing, they're guilty of something. That's why they're saying that. And it's not that they're not saying the truth. They just feel bad now, and they've done it. They've done that to you because they want the house. So what do we need to do then? We're working with buyers. We have to be the one who's going to show them the house they're going to buy. So we have to stay on top of them and nurture them, and we have to be in front of them regularly. But sellers, they're looking for something very different. They have already vetted you probably before you got there. They're looking for you. With buyers, they're looking for a house. We just want to be the agent who's there to sell it to them. With sellers, they're hiring you. They're hiring you. It's not that buyers aren't, in a sense, hiring you, but it's not you. It's the house. With a listing, they're picking, if they've got all of you guys in here out and they're going to pick one, they're picking one of you to be able to represent them. And so that you have to be the expert that they want to work with. So these are just some of the things that they're looking for. So be very present on the internet. Google yourself if you haven't. Google yourself and see what shows up, because I can assure you that your potential sellers are. Also, clean it up. I mean, clean it up. We are not presenting ourselves on social media in a way. It doesn't mean don't put personal stuff. People love to see personal stuff, but be careful about what you put and what you say on the internet. I want to sell houses to anybody or sell houses for anybody. There's no group that I want to exclude from that. I don't care what they believe. I don't care where they live. I don't care what any of that. I want to sell them a house, So we want to make sure that there's nothing that's real identifiable on our social media that would cause them not to want to work with us, right? So being really careful about that. I can give lots of bad examples of people of their social media stuff that I've seen over the years, but we'll move on. We don't have time for that. We'll talk about that sometime over a happy hour and a drink. Let's see here. All right. This is an older slide, so we no longer have e-edge, we now have command, but using your technology. So command, social media, instant messaging, and video, emailing, or texting. Someone just told me, I believe it was Monday, that every time she leaves an open house, she sends a video thank you for coming to the open house to everybody from an open house. That's a great idea.
That was me.
Nicole. Yes, it was. And I did that. And you have a huge presence on social media and you're really comfortable with videos. So can you tell everybody about that, Nicole?
Sure. So what I like to do is, sorry I don't have my camera on. I'm still like in my pajamas and I don't look very pretty. So what I like to do is normally as soon as I get home after my open house, I go back and look through my, excuse me, my sign-in sheet, and I try to remember something personal about them. So whenever I go to do their video, I'll incorporate that, if they mention something that they like, or we ended up talking about vacationing or whatever it may be, I'll include that in the video somehow. And I just say, hi, this is Nicole Hoffman, the realtor that you met at 123 Main Street. I just wanted to thank you for attending the open house and wanted to know if you had any questions that I can answer or if you need help with anything at all. Please feel free to reach out. It was nice meeting you and great speaking with you. And if there's ever anything I can do to be of any assistance to you, I would love to help. And then I leave my number and say, have a great day.
I love it. It helps you stand. Some people aren't even, they're not even called the next day. So I think even if you do, and I think you had mentioned you don't get all these responses. I don't think it matters if you get a response. They saw it.
Right.
So great job.
Like newsletters or whatever. Seeing your name over and over again.
Sorry, if I lower the volume, there are people on there, but we're majorly echoing in here. But yes, exactly. It's the repeated hearing your name, seeing your face, seeing your name over and over and over again that keeps you top of mind. As I had said, they're looking at the mailing that you sent them, but they see your face as they're throwing it in the trash, because I promise they're not putting everything on their fridge. It's going in the trash, and that's okay. They still saw you. And that's what's important, because then it's going to be the next time, oh, there's that guy again. There's that Sean who was at my door 3 weeks ago or 2 months ago or whatever it is. Maybe now over the holiday season, you send them something in the mail and there's that guy again. And then having a hook, having something that causes them to reach back out, whether that be some type of a value proposition, something that you're going to provide them, some value that you can provide for them. And I love the, hey, reach out to me to see what the community events are in your area. Reach out to me for a handyman spreadsheet that I put together for your area. Different things like that you can do. All right. So let's look at these 4 C's. Capture interested people. And that's in every way. That's in any way. That's internet leads. That's open house people. That's people that you got referrals from. These are the people that even ever sit someplace and someone says to you, oh my gosh, you sell real estate. what's the price of that yellow house on the corner of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I appreciate that you think that I know the price of every listed property in the county, but they do. So anyone who's interested, those are people that you want to capture, connecting with them on a personal level. We all need to make connections. We want to be remembered. Remember this statement. You make a connection with someone when they are speaking, not when you are speaking, when they are speaking. You leave the conversation feeling like that was really great when you did all the talking, but that might not be what they think. So I always look at it like a blind date, two different perspectives. One of the people did all the talking, the other person did not. The person who didn't do the talking left and tell their friends and family it was the worst date of their life. Person who did all the talking says, oh my God, I think I met my future spouse, because they did all the talking, right? Two totally different things. And then the person who did all the talking is crushed because the other person doesn't ever recall them. Two perspectives. So you're making a connection with people that are around you when they're speaking, even if there's someone quiet. How do we get them to talk?
Ask questions.
Ask questions, ask questions.
Open-ended questions.
That's right. Yeah, not yes, no.
Yes, no.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, here's the thing I always say to engage people on social media. Go on, don't just like their posts. Like it, comment, and ask a question. It causes them then to respond. Like, I could have 25 people make a comment on my post and I just like their comment, but one that asks a question or says something extra, and then I'll reply to their reply. Right? So again, it's something like, oh my gosh, your dog is so cute. What kind is it? It could be anything. I saw that you were on vacation. Where was that? Anything. You can probably look at almost any post and come up with a question. And that's how you get that response going. It also helps the algorithm of you showing up in their feed also. Also, because I know not all of you were in this class when we talked about this. Facebook groups is a big thing you should be focusing on. Your entire friends and family should be in a Facebook group. They don't have to agree to be. They don't know that they are. If you're in a group, they will see every single post that you post to the group. Ever open up your Facebook in the morning and what's the first three things you see? I see happy birthday to someone from Legacy, happy birthday to someone from Living, and happy birthday to someone from Elevate. Every single day, first three things I see. And that's because I'm in those groups. So that's always going to be what's going to come up. So put your SOI in a group and then share your post to your feed and to the group. And then everybody in that group will get every post. You won't only have those random 25 people that see your stuff. So
Hey,
there's
Gina.
on social media with that, if you haven't heard us talk about that yet. Cultivating the relationship over time. You got to know, you have to have your mindset right. Everything I do has a potential time frame of getting a return on that investment. Don't go into calling for sale by owners, assuming that every single one of them is going to talk to you and you're going to end up with an appointment with even half of them. You have to be able to know what you're getting yourself into. Same with door knocking or sending mailings to a farming neighborhood. I had someone say to me a couple of years ago, I'm so disappointed. I sent out 250 postcards to a neighborhood that I sold a house and not one person called me. And I said to her, did you think that they were? They weren't. You shouldn't have went into it assuming that. You went into it with an expectation that you were going to get 25 phone calls. And now you're disappointed, which is going to cause you not to do it again. You needed to go into that thinking that's the first layer of getting in front of those 250 people. The next layer comes in a quarter from now when I send another mailing or when I go door knocking. Or if I'm lucky enough that I put a call to action on my postcard, they reached out to me and gave me their email address, and now I can send them stuff once a month in an email. Everything you're doing is a layering effect over time, and you're building a foundation. Don't be the agent who just wants to be a pop-up agent who wants to do business right now. That ends. We can't just do right now business. We're building a foundation for our future business that can last. and then closing for the appointment. So learning how to capture, learning how to connect, cultivate, and close for the appointment. And as I talked about earlier, you're not just closing for the sale, you're closing for the appointment. Questions about that? And then I'm going to jump into the funnel.
I have a question real quick. With the Facebook groups, how do you start your own Facebook group without people knowing that you started one or inviting them to one?
I don't remember how, I mean, you'd have to Google it, but there's instructions on in your, I'll also say this. Ever
Okay.
know that you log onto your computer, there's so many more options to do things than when you're trying to do certain things from your cell phone. That's like with the Google Calendar, by the way. Start with the Google Calendar on your computer and then work it from your phone, because you're missing things that you needed to know when you started it. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you right now, but you can
Gotcha.
create
That's
many,
okay.
many groups and just start adding groups of people into those groups.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not 100% sure how that works. The funnel. So capture, connect, and cultivate, and then convert. So like you need to know that process, right? And need to know that we're not going to go from capture probably to convert on every transaction. Sometimes we do. Sometimes the buyer walks into the open house we're hosting and wants to make an offer on that house. That's just not the norm, right? Agents' time spent with the consumers at various stages is really important in establishing the relationship. Ever imagine that if I met somebody and I showed them one house and they made an offer on it, and I didn't really spend the time out there in the trenches showing them many houses, the relationship's just different. It's just very different. Over time, you're going to make that relationship. Not that I'm saying don't sell houses the first time. Go out there, do that. But it's going to shorten that time span that you're with the customer and establishing that relationship. Making sure that you're very deliberate about the things that you're doing to capture leads. Make a big plan around how you're going to connect with them. What are the things I'm going to do to stay on top of that? So that's where those 33 touch campaigns or 36 touch campaigns come in, and how important that is to be, continuing on. I'm going to start going through there a little bit quicker because we're going to be out of time here quick. Okay. Does anyone know what a MOFR is? MOFR. MOFR. MOFR is make offer for immediate response. So that would be on a postcard. That would be something like reach out to me with your email address and I'll enter you into a drawing. Different kinds of things that you can capture someone to make them respond. So that's a hook, right? I'll give you instant notifications on your home. So there's that market snapshot. Finding out what your house is worth. That's a CMA. I just did a MOFR in my post this morning. I was just talking about. Our price is still up. Contact me to see the value of your house. That's what that means. If you want to go down the line of, hey, do you want to look at foreclosures or distressed properties because you're an investor? I'm the expert who can help you with that. Different things like that would be a MOFR. Having that on mailings or having that on emails or things that you're doing is really helpful to capturing. It's a hook. Look at MOFRs as a hook. It's something that's going to hook them into doing something that you're wanting from them, which is getting their information. Two types: captures and registration. So skinny bait is considered something that they can go there to find the information, but they don't have to register. So that means come to my website and look around, do whatever you want to do there. You don't have to register. Fat bait is considered registration required. So that would be something like send me your email address, like me on Facebook, and then I will enter you into a drawing and then get back to you if you would. Does that make sense? Anybody doing anything like that you can give us an example on that are MOFRs? Anyone who does that on social media, does anything with their mailings as they're calling for sell by owners or anything like that?
Gina, I just did something like that.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I just did a Dog Days of Summer event at my home, and I had Lynn, our tech gal, obviously help me out with composing, a little flyer, and then I did a QR code on that so I could capture their information. And then they had required things they had to put on there, like they had to put, if they put their address on, they got a bonus for an entry for one of the 2 baskets that I put together, but I had required like their name, their phone number, and their email addresses. That way I could put them into command. So I got like 20 people extra from mostly from my neighborhood, because it was a neighborhood event.
Yeah.
And was able to input all that into command and have those extra people in my database. And it was a great event. It was a good turnout, and I was able to capture quite a few more names, which was awesome.
Very good. I love that. Go ahead, Tanisha, were you going to say something?
Only that I was trying to explore into that realm of putting something on Facebook. Like, I'm not sure it was just
It was Carlan.
like for a raffle or something or another, because people love free things, right? So
Yeah.
they'll put their email address in for the chance. And I mean, people have gotten my email address recently because they've been wrapping up Brown tickets and stuff.
Right.
Like an insurance agent called me, and I didn't mind doing a quote with him, but at the end of the day, it was like that obviously works because
Yes, because you
he was
did.
on the phone with me for however long.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yes. Anything like that you can think of that would be of value to somebody. I know Zarice last winter, I think it was, he did the chicken challenge. So anybody who may have been part of the group at that time, he did a chicken challenge, and he did it. And he's our events guy, and he loves doing all kinds of different things. And what his chicken challenge was this. It was a couple agents in the office blindfolded, and they were eating, I think it was Slim Chickens, Cane's, Chick-fil-A, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. And then the chicken challenge, which one was better. And then people voted online which one they thought was better. The blindfolded thing happened, and then they voted best sauce, best this, all those different things. And then then the winner somehow won some kind of prize. But what people were engaged with was not so much the prize in that case. It was that he was going, live while this was happening. And there was that whole debate and conversation on his social media of people arguing why Cane's was better or why Chick-fil-A is the best and blah, blah, blah. So just a great way to get engagement on social media and growing a database, and then people registering and putting in their vote and then choosing a winner. So lots of different fun things like that. Good.
I was gonna say, like, under the optional item or something that I try to capture is somebody's birthday. Just the month and day,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and send, follow up with a birthday card.
All the things. Absolutely. I would say this too with that. I always have some kind of in a closing packet. We talk a lot about having a buyer packet and a listing packet for marketing. You should also have some kind of a closing packet. And in your closing packet is a thank you letter and different things. But I also always have some type of a postcard or form that asks me things like this. What are your guys' names? Do you have nicknames? What are your children's names? What is all your birthdays? What's your favorite candy? What's your favorite gift card? Things like that. That way, then I can get them in my database and regularly be sending them some kind of a $5. I mean, you can send a Starbucks $5 card by texting it to somebody, so just different, like happy birthday, here's a coffee on me kind of a thing. Go ahead.
Closing backpack is something you email.
I bring it to closing.
Okay.
Yep. It's just in a red folder, and I just bring it to closing.
Do you wait for them to fill it out right then, or?
I do.
You do?
Yep. It's usually pretty quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that could even be something that you put in a buyer packet when you meet with them for the first time and just say, hey, fill this out next time when we see each other, kind of a thing. Like, it can really be given at any point. Lots of good stuff. I think next week might be our making marketing materials workshop. So that's the kind of thing we'll be going over in that as well. Let's see. We kind of talked about that. All right. So let's talk a little bit about different things that you are doing to capture leads. What offers do you make? What kind of registration are you requiring? How many inquiries each week or month are you getting on your site? So who would say you're doing things on social media, or you're doing things in regards to, lead generating? That would be a way of capturing people's information that's different than what we've talked about. Anybody? And then how are you doing with that?
And this is supposed to be just from the internet?
Whatever
Where?
you're doing.
It's like open houses.
Yep. At open houses, yep.
You know, the registration form, capturing as much information up front as you can. And like you're saying, following up with them once the house is over and
Another thing I would say this with open house, I haven't done them in a long time, but when I did do open house, I would have a questionnaire on a clipboard and I would walk around depending on how many people are in the open house and ask them lots of different questions about their needs and what they're looking for, in addition to just their name, phone number, and email address. So questions about feedback, questions about what they're looking for. It's a great way to get them engaged also as an additional thing. How can I help you kind of a thing? Anybody else? I'll run out of time here real quick. Contact rules, call back within 3 to 7 minutes. I would say even shorter than that. I think you need, especially in particular with internet leads, it's an immediate thing. They're going to definitely be on to the next. If they don't answer, I mean, I've seen this a million times, call them back again. You should be trying them multiple times. Remember this, if somebody came to your website or you got an internet lead in some way from some source that you're getting internet leads, they clicked on something. They gave you their right phone number. They fully expect someone to reach out. It's not surprising. You don't need their permission to. They gave it to you. They're wanting it. And then of course, as always, closing for the appointments. Let's see. Here's just some tips on things that you can be talking about when you do reach out, kind of like a little script on that. I know we've gotten to 2 o'clock here, so let's see. Any questions? Any other thoughts? I'll download this entire packet into the Google Drive so you guys will have access to it. I just want to see if there was one more thing I wanted to look at here. The last thing I want us to look at is the CGI calculator. So this was something I put in the chat yesterday. So moving on from this is something that you guys should put into your business and practice. And here's what a CGI is defined as. How many calls do I have to make to get how many appointments? How many appointments do I have to go on to get how many buyer's agency agreements signed? How many appointments do I have to go on to get how many listing agreements signed? And then how many buyer agency committed buyers do I have to work with to get how many closed buyer transactions? And how many listing agreements signed do I have to get how many listing closed deals? Those are things you should be tracking. You're a business owner. Business owners know. Something even as simple as this, my daughter, she's a head of a PTA or whatever they call it these days, at her daughter's school, at my granddaughter's school. And every time she has somebody doing the concession stand, they have to count everything. They have to count how many straws before and after. They have to count how many chicken nuggets. They have to count how many Gatorades, how many bottled waters. They know going into it how many they have when they started and how many they have when they ended. It's a business. It's a business. So you should be able to know your stats. You should know year over year, where do I focus my attention and my time? How many appointments do I go on because I made how many phone calls? That tells you then, okay, if I want to double the houses I sold, then I have to increase my appointments. And to increase my appointments, I have to increase my calls. And to get people to call, I have to do the things to bring the leads, right? So that's what a CGI is. So you should be able to know what those are. And this is just another graph showing that there. And it goes into like your action plan of different things that you can be doing. So I'll load this entire packet into the drive and I'll just label it what it was called, lead conversion. Questions?
Did you make this?
I certainly did not. No, it's in KWU. It's from the Shift book from Gary Keller. And it's an Ignite class that we occasionally teach. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So most of my classes I am doing it, but this one I was like, there's great information. Why try to recreate the wheel?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you for your time. This is
Thank you.